Karen justified the affair by creating a theory of parallel lives, where two independent souls could remain lovers forever while pursuing parallel courses, even though they would not ever ultimately meet. While Dennis was away, she fought a variety of illnesses, and no amount of ingenuity or hard work could make the farm profitable.
You're wrong about keeping this place, but I hope you make it.
Safe home, Mr. Burnham.
She held on to it year after impossible year with sheer tenacity and the threat of suicide.
I belong here and should be here. Much, perhaps most of my heart is in this country, and I must just get accustomed to loneliness and other things here. I could not stand another transplanting now. It would take far too much out of me. I really believe that I would die.
Eventually, the elements conspired to destroy her chances.
I think that you had better get up, Memsap. I think that God is coming.
She held on to the farm because it was her life, and she was terrified of losing it.
All gone. All gone.
I thought you might be wanting a divorce.
Has she got money? Of course she's got money.
She took a very old-fashioned view of marriage. It was a social pact. You married for sensible reasons, and the actual experience was less important than the sense that you were fulfilling your role. And she was perfectly willing to let Bror go his way, and she had gone her way, and she didn't see why they couldn't remain married. But the woman he was in love with had insisted on his making an honest woman of her.
Well, I'll be happy for you, if I can.
The divorce from Bror and the specter of losing the farm left her without an acceptable reason for remaining in Africa.
I remember that quite well.
She continued as the Baroness Blixen even after Bror remarried, but her identity, which was tied to her sense of destiny, was losing its foundation. She hoped for a rescue, but only of a certain kind. Marriage was the easiest solution, and she had prospects, but only Dennis could capture her. And he could offer neither money nor matrimony. His detachment finally shattered her facade and sent her theory of parallel lives up in flames.
Let me help you.
You would keep me then?
He did what he could to help her, but he was really very absent in the last months, weeks and months before she was to leave and before his plane crashed. There was some sort of row, that was the word her friends used to describe it. And whether it was about another woman or whether it was about his unwillingness to help her, I think maybe she even expected that he might offer to marry her at that point so she could stay in Africa. There was talk about the fact that he was having an affair with Beryl Markham.
Beryl Markham had been fixated on Dennis for years. He represented an ideal conquest, especially since he was the only male in East Africa who had rejected her charms. She remained deferential to her much older rival as she waited for Dennis to stray. She was striking to behold, and 15 years younger than Dennis. She flouted all convention, her daring culminating in the first solo flight from Europe to America. She wore her prowess like a wild animal, and to a resolutely independent man past 40, she was irresistible. So when Karen clutched Dennis too fiercely, he turned to Beryl.
Beryl Markham was alive when the script was written. We didn't own any material that gave us any license to go portraying Beryl, and that was the obvious accommodation, that they would go by the name of Felicity.
I don't know much about men. I want them to like me, but I want to be let alone, too.